So in this video we are going to see about concept of subsystem. So here I have written about the subsystem, that a subsystem is a single predefined operating environment through which the system coordinates the workflow and resource use. The system can contain several subsystems, all operating independently of each other. Subsystem manage resources. So in subsystem we have to just see the whatever the operating system connected to the connected for the working proper functioning of that devices, so it is called subsystem. So there are various subsystems connected in a single system, and this is called subsystem. And uh, the subsystem is where work is processed on the system. A system is a single predefined operating environment through which the system coordinates the workflow and resource use. The system can contain several subsystems, all operating independently of each other. Subsystem manage resources. The same line I have repeated here. So all jobs with the exception of system jobs run within subsystems. Each subsystem can run unique operations. For instance, one subsystem may be set up to handle only interactive jobs, while another subsystem handles only batch jobs. Subsystems can also be designed to handle many types of work. The system allows you to decide the number of subsystems and what type of work each subsystem handles. So in subsystem there are various systems are there, and each systems do the different job, like one system handle the interactive job, another subsystem handle the batch job, and like that there are so many subsystems available to make form a system. So as we know that in any organization there are so many works are there, and for performing for performing better the work, so subsystem requires, and for the proper functioning of each job subsystems requires, and then a unified subsystem is called system. The runtime characteristics of the subsystem are defined in an object called a subsystem description. For example, if you want to permanently change the amount of work, number of jobs coming from the job queue into the system subsystem, you only need to change the job queue entry in the subsystem. So runtime, one of the characteristic of the subsystem is runtime. So in runtime what happens, the whatever the number of jobs in any organization, so it just need to just enter the timing and the amount of work which is performed in any organization. So there are various sub points I have written in subsystem, like the controlling subsystem, why the controlling subsystem requires in any subsystem. So the controlling subsystem is the interactive subsystem that starts automatically when the system starts, and the system through which the system operator controls the system via the system console. It is identified in the controlling system a library system value. So controlling subsystem is very important for the subsystem, and if any system starts, so at that time subsystem controlling subsystem, through the controlling subsystem the operator controls the system by the system devices and many type of devices connected to them. So why next is why consider multiple subsystem. So as the number of users on the system increases, a single subsystem for a set of work is often insufficient. By dividing your users into multiple subsystems, you can gain several advantages. So why we have to need of multiple subsystems? So because I have already mentioned that because of the proper functioning of that each work subsystem required. So in any organization there are various type of works are there, So one single system or subsystem is not sufficient to perform the work for the better performance of that work. So because of that, the multiple subsystem requires subsystem. Next is subsystem description. So in subsystem description, yes, subsystem description is a system object that contains information defining the characteristics of an operating environment controlled by the system. The system recognized identifier for the object type of SPSD. A subsystem description defines how, where, and how much work enters a subsystem and which resources and subsystem uses to perform the work. An active subsystem takes on the simple name of the subsystem description. So in subsystem description, there are it contains the information which defines the characteristics of that system, that what and how and where the work and how much works will be entered in the subsystem. So the characteristics basically defined in subsystem description. So how a subsystem starts? Next question may come in your mind, that how a subsystem starts. So when a subsystem starts, the system allocates several items and auto starts and pre-start job before the subsystem is ready to work. So in when subsystem starts in any system, so it allocates all the items, whatever the items it has been recorded before the starting and after the starting and at the time of starting. So all accumulates and then start the subsystem and gives the output, sorry. So in next video we will see about decision making and management information system. So till then, thank you, have a nice day.